All right, it's Kim Wilson again. I think I'm ready for my technique card now. So this one is a fun technique. Did you know that you could emboss on glimmer paper? We've got all sorts of different colors of glimmer paper. If you are in the online store and you check the search box, just write glimmer paper in the search box. I think there's 4 or 5 different collections of glimmer paper. The one I used here is the festive one, which was from Christmas, but hey, it's red for Valentine's Day, right? So this particular one is cherry cobbler. The instructions and the videos will all be on the Say It With Color Paper Crafting Facebook group, the private group for my customers and team members. If you're seeing this on YouTube, why don't you subscribe to my newsletter and find out more. So we're going to start with just a basic one sheet wonder kind of background. We're going to make our own pattern paper using some of the stamps from the Hugs for Love bundle. I'm not even, oh, I am using the punch. The punch I used the punch to cut out the little piece we're going to emboss on. So it comes with a punch and then some hearts. And then I also grabbed the heart from, since I had it out for the other class card, this little heart here. And I kind of made, I mean, you can go ahead and stamp all the little hearts separately, but I thought, oh, why not put them all on a piece of cardstock and do it all together. And I guess it would be a good thing if I grabbed the cherry cobbler ink pad, and we'll see how this works. So I am also going to grab my Pierce mat. Now the other cards I didn't use it on because I had just my photopolymer stamps were just line designs. But when you're doing a lot of solid stamping, it's good to have something with a little give to it underneath. And so I am going to be using that Pierce mat to give me a little bit of background stability there, and a little bit of give, so that when I stamp, I'm going to get a good image. So let's just see how this works. I kind of put them all on kind of close together in a pleasing kind of orientation, and you can see how the Pierce mat really helps those bold images to come out. So I often forget to use it, and then I'm like, oh, I should have used my Pierce mat. So, and I can just wipe off those extra images that I stamped on my mat, or I could have put some scrap paper underneath. That probably would have been a good idea. Okay, we'll stick that one in like that, and then maybe a couple more at the top. Hey, that looks pretty good. So put that aside. I think I'm going to dry that off a little bit because that's kind of juicy, isn't it? So we're going to find the rest of my kit here, and let's see. Where did my sample go? Okay, on the sample, I did put a white piece. Whenever I have a dark card base, I like to put a white piece or a lighter piece on the inside, and I did stamp that. I did grab that little guy and stamp a few hearts on the corners, but I won't bother with that this time. But you can see how you can do the inside of your card as well. Okay, I've got 2 punched out pieces. I have a white one and then the glimmer paper one, and then my little bow for the front. So I think that was it. All right, so why don't we do our embossing while that's drying, and then I'll show you a little trick to do with anytime you have a punched image and you want to do a background piece, but you know, it's unlike a die cut, a punch is just one size. So I'll show you a quick way to make it, kind of make it in another size. And I have to grab my Versamark ink pad. I think I hadn't done this in a while. I didn't have everything out I needed. Okay, I do have my stamp ready here. If I can find it. Sending you a big hug. Yep, there it is. And I suppose I should use the Pierce mat underneath again too, just because this is rather a bolder image. And when you're using the Versamark, you're not going to really see it on here, so you just kind of have to keep your fingers crossed that it's going to show up when you stamp it with the Versamark. Hopefully this pad that I just grabbed out is has a lot of ink on it. I'm going to tap it a bunch of times just to make sure it's inked up well, and then stamp it on my Glimmer paper. I'm going to hold it down a few seconds just to make sure. I'm not going to rock it around or anything, but just hold it down. And can't see anything, but let's see what happens. I've got my white embossing powder, and this is my, I think it's called Embossing Additions Kit. So it comes with this fun little tray, and then these really useful tweezers, which have a silicone tip, so they're not going to get all hot. Because when you're embossing on something small like this, you do not want to hold it with your fingers. Okay, and I always keep a little paintbrush with me because that way I can kind of wipe off all those little extra bits that I don't want. That looks pretty good. So let's heat it now. I'll grab the heat tool, move my powder out of the way. I think I'm going to move my ink pad out of the way too. I really don't want to dry that up. So get the heat tool on here. And I like to let it warm up for a little bit before I actually heat my paper here. And then I'll move it around a little bit, but not too much, because I want to get that pretty hot, get the sections pretty hot. And you can see it's starting to melt and go together there. So, and then it gets nice and shiny. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, so now we just put things together, and hopefully I didn't lose that white punched out piece. All right, I still have my little bit of glue here on the silicone mat because I didn't want to waste the little bit of glue that was left in that container. So we'll put on our little background here that we hand stamped. And then, oh, there's my white piece and scissors. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just cut that right in half. And then I'm going to glue it to the top and the bottom just so it gives that little bit of rim. So it looks like, kind of like you've got a larger stamped image, but you don't really. So put a little bit of glue on the top and the bottom there, and add those white pieces. So you can use that little trick with any of your punches to give it, to make a background, so out of a contrasting color. So there, doesn't that look kind of good? All right, and if you really want to be fussy about it and get it all the way around, you could cut an additional piece and then do the same thing on the sides, but I think this is good for now. A little bit of glue there. Okay, and then I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals to put that. Oh, here's some big ones. Big ones for this shape. And I'm even going to put some kind of across the little divider there and make sure that stays together. That'll be good. There, just find a nice place to put that. On this card, I put it kind of in the bottom corner. I tend to put sentiments in the bottom right corner, but I mean, you can put them any place, just not right in the middle, because I don't know, it's just not artistic to put it in the middle. But if you want to be different, put it in the upper corner. But I guess I'll be the same and put it in the bottom corner. And then I need to grab a glue dot. Let's see, do I have any glue dots sitting here? Well, I can't see any handy. You know what I really like to use is those little tiny glue dots that are left over from the paper pumpkin kit. So if you don't have the box of glue dots, these These little guys are great as long as you have a pick tool to pick it up with, and then to take off the top to it. And those look great. I tied my little cherry cobbler, although I think this twine is real red, but it looks fine with cherry cobbler. Tied that earlier, and I'll just trim off that bow. And there's a fun technique to make another Valentine's card, sending you a big hug. And again, I used the Hugs for Love bundle with the punch, and it's got some fun sentiments. There's also a second stamp set that goes with that punch, so a lot of uses. I love my punches for basic shapes. I always save those basic shapes, the circles, circles in the like the hexagon, so that you can use those as well for this fun technique with stamping and embossing on Glimmer paper. Okay, that is it for today. My last class, my last card. If you're in the area, come out to class. If you're in the group, you can print out the handouts or just save a file. Save the files so you have them for future reference, and so that you can use them with your particular stash of products. So Craft Doc is my blog. More ideas there. Happy crafting, everybody.